Good morning, everybody. How are you doing this morning? I'm Makeda Valletta, also known as the Body Scientist, and I am just finished my workout, my morning workout at the gym. Just worked my legs, and I'm having my little post-workout smoke. And so I was like, let me just talk about this a bit because, I was never somebody that had my cannabis smoking, right, in my whole life. And I remember many times people said to me, oh, I thought you were into health. And, I'm a trainer. For those of you who don't know, I have a Bachelor of Science in Exercise and Sport Science with a concentration in strength and conditioning and a minor in sports nutrition. And then I went on to graduate program in applied physiology and nutrition. And the whole time, like when I was a track athlete in college, I did not smoke in high school at all, okay? I was not a teenage weed smoker. The very first time I ever smoked weed, and as a high school student, I was a basketball athlete. Basketball is my main sport in high school, but I also fenced, I also ran track, and I was a dancer. I've always been a dancer. And then in college, I was dancing, and I was on the track team. And it was really in college, and in college I didn't smoke cannabis every day, okay? Like now I do, right? But all the athletes I knew, the basketball players, the football players, all smoked. And I remember then it used to help me come down from my workouts, like just, have that calm. Because when you are an athlete, especially a power athlete, power sports, which I just finished lifting weights. That's also strength and power. That's activating the fast twitch muscle fibers. It's testosterone activating. It activates a different system in the body than slow twitch, right? Even though cannabis can also go with slow twitch movements. But some people will say that, smoking weed and doing fast and powerful movements is counterproductive. And I disagree with that. It really depends on the strain that you're smoking. I just came from the gym. I smoked before I went in the gym. Now I'm leaving the gym and I'm having my post-workout smoke. But the strain that I'm smoking is a very uplifting, energizing, focused type of sativa, right? There are strains of cannabis that will make you sleepy. So it's like I wouldn't want to smoke sleepy weed and then go to the gym. No. You know what I'm saying? But it can really help you just focus. It really helps me get in my zone. As a dancer, because dancing is athletic in the sense that you have to physically perform, but dancing is also artistic. It's also an art. So, smoking before a dance class, like dancing is an art, but it's also for me one of the ingredients in my recipe of high level performance, keeping my body together, functioning at a high level for as long as possible. It's a part of my recipe, my anti-aging recipe, okay? Because I noticed when I was in college, okay, my professors, I told you I was an exercise and sports science major. I graduated from the University of Delaware in 2003. And I remember having professors in their 50s who are master swimmers or competing in masters sports. And I remember thinking they did not look their age. They look very fit for their age. And so when people think that, like, your body falling apart, your mind and your body falling apart is just an inevitable part of aging, that's not true. It really depends on what you're doing with your body, keeping it intact over the years. And if you don't use it, you lose it. And it's about what you're eating, but it's also about what you're doing. And not all exercises are the most beneficial for that. Some exercises are counterproductive. Some exercises are catabolic, which means it breaks down your bones. It breaks down your muscles. You don't want that, okay? You want to do anabolic activities, okay? And so strength and power stuff is anabolic. Strength training is super important. Strength training is important at every age. It's important if you're an athlete. It's important if you're not an athlete, okay? I have videos where I talk about the importance of strength training. But there's a neuromuscular connection component okay, to exercise. Your mind tells your body what to do. When it comes to the potency of muscle contractions, your mind has to be involved. If you mentally visualize and focus on a muscle contracting as you contract it, you will have a more powerful contraction. If you were doing sorry about the horns. If you're doing a vertical jump, right, test, and you're trying to test on how high you can jump. If you just jump and you're not thinking about anything, you're thinking about paying your taxes, right? You won't jump as high as if you, as compared to if you jump and you're you're mentally thinking, you're mentally engaged in seeing your body jump as high as possible. Like, and you're talking to yourself and you're like, or if you're, lifting, if you're lifting your leg up, if I'm trying to lift my leg up, okay? If I mentally think about my quadriceps, which are contracting to lift my leg up, my abs are contracting to help lift my leg up. If I focus on those muscles and actively contract them and visualize as I do it, I will have a more powerful contraction, okay? And so this is just a fact of neuromuscular activation of muscles. But as a dancer, I've been an athlete, a multi-sport athlete in my life, and there's certain lessons that sports teaches you. But as a dancer, dancing can be athletic-like in the sense that we exert ourselves, but the mindset is a little bit different, right? Because dance is more an art as compared to a competitive sport. And I feel like both of them have their power, right? Because participating in competitive sports, especially team sports, I feel like teaches you a lot of lessons for life. A lot of lessons that help you get through life, okay? So I really believe in athletics. I especially believe in athletics on like a little league level, like when you're growing up, okay? Professional sports, high level professional sports is like a different mindset. But just on the, growing up and learning to not give up, learning that there's no I in team, learning that, you need to show up for your teammates, learning that, even if you're down, you can't have a defeated mindset, learning, how to work with others, how to keep your mind in the game, how to push through, how sometimes shit ain't fair and you still got to overcome it. Because I was a high school basketball player in New York, and we did not take school buses to our games. Like when I went to college, I saw that other high schools took school buses to their basketball games. No, we got on the New York City subway and we went to whatever borough, Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, wherever we were playing. We would get off the train, we're walking through the neighborhood. The whole neighborhood used to talk shit to us. And my team wasn't like a tough, rough team. Like, And I wasn't a street baller. I was a good basketball player, but I like playing organized basketball. A lot of the girls on my team, they would play street ball with the dudes. I'm from New York. I'm from Harlem. There's no way, okay? If I walk outside, one of the reasons why I don't really play basketball anymore is because if I walk outside in Harlem, I could say in New York, but I'll say especially in Harlem. If I walk outside with a basketball, every dude is going to be like paying attention to me. Oh, you nice, shorty, you nice, and they're going to be watching me. Like I remember I had, and it's like I don't want dudes to bother me. I just want to practice. In peace. And when I play basketball, I like playing with girls. I don't want to play basketball with dudes. Like I have a twin brother. I understand that men have men's strength. I don't need to play a power sport with dudes. I'm not trying to increase my chances of getting hurt. Like, I just don't. Like, I like to, and the women's game is different than the men's game, too, okay? Basketball is definitely one of my favorite sports to play. But, there's just like, there's a lot of, so anyhow, what I was going to say is that those games, my high school games, we used to go through the neighborhoods, whatever, the whole neighborhood's talking shit. And, I gotta be like this. The whole neighborhood's talking shit, and we would play against some girls who were super rough. Like, I feel like now you have a lot more pretty female basketball players. But back in the day, in the 90s when I was playing, a lot of the female basketball, not all of them, okay, but a lot of them were really rough, okay? They were really rough. They were rough around the edges. They looked rough. They were rough. And we would play games where, like, you know, the team would be cheating. They'd be, like, basically fighting us, okay? Like, we had to take everything in us to not get into fights, okay? Because we knew if we got into a fight, we'd be disqualified, right? From the, you know, the game or the season or whatever. And it got so bad at our games that we weren't allowed to have spectators, okay? And I remember being in high school thinking, this is girls basketball. And this is, like, so violent, right? It's just like, but I remember playing against teams where, like, they would be cheating and they'd be taking point, you know, giving themselves points on the scoreboard or whatever that didn't belong to them, just cheating. And we still would blow them out by 10 points, right? Like, sometimes you're in unfair situations and you still, you know, or people are aggravating the fuck out of you, but you know, like, if I get into a fight, if I punch this person in the face right now, it's going to have greater consequences. So I'm just going to have to ignore that and stay focused, right? So there's a lot of lessons that you learn from playing competitive sports in general, but I really believe in team sports because individual sports can be a little different. But anyhow, you know, I started this video because I was, you know, smoking after my workout. I said I did it before my workout. I had a very good workout. Like, I've been really busy lately. The last 10 days I haven't been in the gym. And so I strength trained. I, you know, worked out harder than I have in a long time. I was very focused and very into my workouts, okay? And, like, it really just, there are a lot of people, okay? A lot of people would be surprised. Yeah, they did used to cheat like that when I was in high school. It did just be some, my twin brother used to be at all of my games, okay? My twin brother used to, like, keep stats at all the games. And, like, it was just, and the thing is that my team was very good. We were very good as a team. And, like, you know, people didn't even come to our games like that. Like, the boys team got way more spectators and we won a lot more. So, like, when girls play basketball, you know, when girls play sports, a lot of times we're not doing it for the ego. Like, I'm not saying that dudes always do it for the ego, but male athletes a lot of times get this ego. Even if they are, like, a college athlete who's broke, you know, they're not rich. It's not about the money. It's about, like, if you're a high school player, if you are a college player, you may not be rich, but you're a star. A lot of times you get all these groupies, all these chicks. It's not like that really when you're a female player. Like, we don't do it with that mindset. It's just different. But anyhow, yeah. So anyhow, a lot of athletes, a lot of people who work out and are into working out. I know plenty of people, okay? I was just hanging out with someone I know who is a fireman, and we know firemen are very, very in shape and very, very fit, okay? And, you know, consumes lots of cannabis, you know, works out all the time. And, you know, I've never wanted to hide my cannabis consumption or smoking because I always knew that it was a myth, that it was, like, unhealthy and bad for you and bad for your fitness. I've always known that. But I'm like, if everybody's hiding it, people have no idea how many really fit people consume cannabis. You know, like, you go to certain cannabis, you know, conferences that I've been at lately. Everybody in the room looks so healthy and, like, fit. And looking fit is not looking like a bodybuilder, you know. Bodybuilders look artificial and like they're not going to live a long life. A lot of them don't, okay? Bodybuilding is not a healthy so-called sport. I don't consider bodybuilding a sport because they, you know, all they do is get on stage and pose and flex. That's not performing. Like, what can you actually do? Like, can you run? Can you jump? Do you have agility? Do you have muscular endurance? Aerobic endurance? Like, do you have true strength? Because they're really not that strong. You know, if you look at the people that do the strongman competitions, they're not like all like bulky, cut up like a bodybuilder. But the people doing the strongman competitions are carrying heavy ass like things across the field, and like really that's like true strength, right? Or you see the people who do the Olympic lifts, the cleans, the jerks, the snatches. And I am a USA Olympic weightlifting coach as well. Olympic weightlifting is an actual Olympic sport, okay? And you're doing cleans, jerks, snatches. People who do that are very strong. They're throwing 300 pounds above their head, 400 pounds above their head. They're very strong, but they're not like all big and bulky like a bodybuilder. So the idea that bodybuilders are strong, absolute lie. The idea that bodybuilders are athletic, absolute lie. To me, what the fuck is the point of all that muscle if you can't do shit? You know what I'm saying? It's like, what can you do? So I'm about performance, okay? Not about bodybuilding and like just the look and the posing, right? And so, yeah, like I feel great. I'm about to cook some eggs and some bacon, and then spend the day politicking with my dad, talking to my dad. I'll be actually recording some other videos with him later, but I'm just like in a very focused, state. And strength training helps me feel very focused as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, strength training is important. It's important to activate, you can activate your mind, body, and you can activate your muscles, but you get more, you can activate your mind, body, and your muscles from doing yoga or dancing or any physical activity, walking upstairs, right? But when you put resistance on the muscles, when you put resistance on your muscles and your muscles have to overcome that resistance, it activates your muscle fibers. It activates more of your muscle fibers. It activates more of the neurons. So that's one way you get a more powerful muscle contraction and thus increase strength and function. Okay. One of those is resistance. Another is to mentally put your mind in it, okay? To mentally put your mind in it and be visualizing when you do it, okay? So somebody asked, does marijuana mess with your lungs like tobacco does? No. Actually, tobacco or marijuana does not mess with your lungs, okay? Both of those are myths. I actually have a video about tobacco that's on this page, on the Body Scientist, that you can check out, about tobacco medicine. And so tobacco has been demonized just like cannabis, marijuana has. Tobacco actually helps with various bronchial issues, as does marijuana, right? Marijuana is a bronchodilator, all right? And actually smoking it, because there's different ways oh, sorry, this dude walked up. We took us in my car. There's different ways of consuming cannabis, right? And depending on what you're using it for, it depends on what method you would use to consume it. But smoking it, if somebody's using it for bronchial issues, actually smoking it is actually one of the better ways to do it. Okay, and if you think about it, okay, people have been smoking herbs since the beginning of time. There are various herbs that people have smoked in different cultures since the beginning of time, okay? And they didn't have lung cancer or any issues. And I know some very well-known and very accomplished and amazing singers who smoke weed, okay? People that you all know, whose names I will not mention, but yeah. Also, if you think about Michael Phelps, I think, is the most decorated swimmer in the U.S., right? And swimmers have the greatest lung capacity out of all athletes, okay? Out of all athletes, swimmers have the greatest lung capacity. And Michael Phelps is smoking out of a bong. I don't even like doing bongs, okay? So Michael Phelps is smoking, and so that should tell you something. And yes, it is the chemicals they put in the tobacco and the cigarettes that are harmful. I know that some years ago, Japan had a very high cigarette smoking rate and very low cancer, okay, because there weren't all those chemicals in it. So it can depend. There's different species of tobacco, so it can depend on that, but it's really the chemicals that's put in the tobacco. And just like with cannabis, like depending on where you're getting it from, just like with your food as well, depending on where you're getting it from, is full of chemicals, right? So that's why, if you see what I teach on my page when it comes to food, I'm always talking about how you should get your food from the best sources possible. Your meat, your eggs, your dairy, your produce, okay? Because you want to get it as close to the farm as possible without all the chemicals and everything, okay? And so that's true. That's true with tobacco. That's true with cannabis. That's true with food. That's true with water. That's true with air. A lot of people burn incense and candles that have really toxic chemicals in it, and they don't realize it. You know what I'm saying? So on all those levels, even what you put on your skin, the soap you use, all of that. Okay, we want to decrease our toxic load as much as possible. All right. We live in a toxic world. We can't completely avoid it, but there's a lot you can do to decrease your toxic load, okay? And if you're just out here using regular soap, regular cleaning products, regular lotion, eating regular food, okay, burning regular incense in the gas station, you are absolutely inundating yourself with so many carcinogens. Carcinogens are cancer-causing chemicals that mutate your DNA to cause cancer. And they are more powerful in numbers, strength in numbers. So the more you expose yourself to multitudes of them, the more powerful they are together synergistically to mutate your DNA and then cause cancer. So it's no surprise that cancer is like the leading cause of death, okay? And the fastest growing rate of cancer is in children. So it's really in your best interest to really take that seriously, okay? And decrease your toxic load, especially in America, because it's very easy to do it here, okay? Well, let me say it's a lot easier to do it here than it is in some other countries. If you watch my videos when I travel to other countries and I talk about these things, you will see what I'm saying, okay? It's too much to explain right now. But yeah, so strains, I'm gonna end this video in a second. Hold on. Another person asked me about the breathing. I need to get her on here. There's this dope chick I know from LA. She's a Haitian dancer from LA, but I met her in the Bay Area. She lived in the Bay Area for years. A lot of people don't know that the Bay Area is a mecca for black dance, okay? New York City and the Bay, okay? New York City and the Bay have all kinds of dances of the African diaspora that you can't find anywhere else, right? And she and I were very passionate about Afro dances of the Black Americas. Haiti, Colombia, Cuba, PR, Brazil, you know. But especially the Haitian stuff, right? And there are times, because like, just like in New York, if you're in the Bay Area, like 7 days a week, there's several different dance classes that you can go to. And so, I mean, throughout San Francisco, Oakland, Berkeley. And she and I would just go from one class to the next, spend like 5-6 hours a day dancing and smoking before the dance class, in between the class, after the class. And a lot of people couldn't get through 20 minutes of those classes, because when I say Haitian dance, I'm not talking about compa. A lot of people think I'm talking about compa, but really I'm talking about the Haitian folklore. And the Haitian folklore is like going to basketball practice. It's like going to football practice. It's like going to boxing, okay, freaking training, okay? It's like all of those things. All of those things and some, okay? That's what that's like. And not only physically, but then it's dance. So when it's dance, one of the differences between dance and sports, because I'm telling you, I've been an athlete and a dancer. With dance, you have to memorize choreography. Okay? Some people can dance all day at a party. Some people can dance all day at a party, but if you put them in a dance class and they have to do exactly what the choreographer, the teacher is doing, not a variation of it, but exactly what they're doing. Like when you learn how to do a layup, there's a general technique for how to do a layup. Everyone doesn't do a layup exactly the same. Everyone doesn't point their finger exactly the same all the way at the same exact time, and what they do with their foot and how they take off, like every single thing with their shoulder movement, their head, everything exactly the same. No, to a rhythm, okay? When you're a dancer and you're looking at a choreographer or the teacher, you have to embody stuff exactly how they're doing it. Like to the untrained eye, you might see some girls, some Afro-Peruvian girls, some Afro-Colombian girls, some Afro-Brazilian, and some Afro-Cubans, right? Girls dancing. And you might just see them all moving their hips. And you can't really tell that they're not moving their hips the same. There's distinct differences with what they're doing with their hips, okay? The movement that's happening, what muscles are being used to make that happen, how it's being executed is not the same. The rhythms aren't the same, okay? And so, like, when you're a dancer, you have to be tuned into that. You can't be doing a variation of the shit. You know what I'm saying? And then with dance, you have to memorize. Like if you're in a class, you're taking a dance class or you're learning choreography, you have to do certain moves at, certain times and a certain sequence. So not only is it physically demanding, so it's athletic-like in that way, but then you have to memorize choreography and stuff very quickly. So the way it works, your mind and your brain is on a very high level. And then also working your body, you're out of breath. When you're dancing, you can't be looking like you're dying, even though you might feel like you're dying. You know what I'm saying? So there's many different aspects of dance that really makes you, especially dances of the African diaspora, that really makes you connect with your body. You have to have consciousness in your head. Your head's on one rhythm. Your shoulders is another rhythm. Your arms is on something else. You got the footwork. You're going to the left. You're going to the right. You're doing agility. You're jumping. You're going low. You know what I'm saying? It's like your hips on another rhythm. You got 6 drummers playing 6 different rhythms, and every part of your body is lined up with a different drum. The level of and then you can't be looking like you thinking about it or you struggling. You have to make it look, the dancer makes things flow. You know what I'm saying? Like you look like you're doing it with ease. So all of that, you know what I'm saying? And there's so many dancers, just like other artists, you know what I'm saying? Just like jazz musicians and, writers that consume cannabis, while engaging in that art. And athletes, okay? I just want to say that. So many athletes. And people who say that they feel more focused. So it really depends on the strain. So let me just end this by saying, it's good to look for strains with like limonene and